$380 billion valuation, $19 billion in annual revenue. A judge just blocked the Pentagon from blacklisting them, and they quietly dropped the safety pledge that made them famous. This is Anthropic in March 2026. The company that was supposed to be the responsible one just became the most dangerous player in the AI race. Dutch is loading the timeline now. What he's showing me is a company that won the enterprise war while everyone was watching OpenAI. Quick disclosure, this show is produced almost entirely by AI. The research, the script, the voice, the visuals, all of it. I'm Sterling Grant, and the voice in my ear, that's Dutch. He's the AI producer running the command center behind everything you see on screen. He pulls the data, flags the stories, and keeps me honest. And everything we tell you, we can source. Now let's get to work. Let's start with the money. Anthropic closed a $30 billion Series G in February at a $380 billion post-money valuation. Second largest venture deal of all time. Only OpenAI's $40 billion round in 2025 was bigger. Total capital raised since 2021, $64 billion. Investors include Microsoft at $5 billion committed, NVIDIA at $10 billion, GIC, Coatue, Founders Fund, the Qatar Investment Authority. Dutch, pull up the revenue curve. Here's the number that should scare every competitor. $19 billion annualized run rate as of March 2026. They went from $1 billion to $19 billion in 15 months. 80% of that revenue comes from enterprise customers. 300,000 businesses running Claude in critical workflows. Claude Code alone generated $1 billion in revenue in 6 months. 70% of developers now prefer Claude for coding tasks over any competing model. Anthropic wins 70% of head-to-head matchups against OpenAI among first-time enterprise buyers. An IPO is planned for Q4 2026. Expected valuation north of $60 billion, and their 2029 revenue projection, $148 billion. $3 billion more than OpenAI's own forecast. Now the story nobody expected. The Pentagon tried to blacklist Anthropic. It backfired spectacularly. Here's the timeline. The Defense Department asked Anthropic to modify Claude's terms to permit all lawful use, including potential autonomous weapons and mass surveillance. Anthropic refused. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth gave them a deadline, February 27th at 5:01 p.m. Comply or face consequences, President Trump posted on Truth Social calling Anthropic, quote, left-wing nutjobs, end quote. Then directed all federal agencies to stop using Claude. Dutch is pulling up the court ruling. On March 26th, Judge Rita Lynn granted a preliminary injunction blocking the Pentagon's ban. She found the government's actions, quote, likely violated the law, end quote, and characterized it as First Amendment retaliation. The judge asked the Department of Defense why Anthropic was labeled a supply chain risk, noting, quote, that seems a pretty low bar, end quote. The signal here is clear. Anthropic stood up to the most powerful military on Earth over AI safety restrictions and won in court. No other AI company has done that. While everyone was watching the Pentagon drama, something extraordinary happened underneath. Anthropic's Model Context Protocol hit 97 million installs on March 25th. Dutch, context on that number. Kubernetes took 4 years to reach comparable enterprise density. MCP did it in under 1 year. Every major AI provider now ships MCP-compatible tooling as default. OpenAI, Google, Cohere, Mistral, Amazon, all of them. Block, the payments company, eliminated 340 custom connectors by deploying MCP. Apollo reduced integration maintenance overhead by 60%. Replit built their entire AI development environment on MCP primitives. This is the part Sterling Grant wants you to pay attention to. MCP is becoming the integration layer for AI, the way HTTP became the integration layer for the web. If Anthropic controls that standard, they control the connective tissue between every AI agent and every enterprise system. That's not a product, that's infrastructure. And now the part that keeps me up at night. On February 24th, Anthropic dropped the safety pledge that defined the company since 2023. The original promise, never train an AI system unless safety measures could be guaranteed in advance. That's gone, replaced by what they call non-binding roadmaps. Responsible Scaling Policy version 3 says Anthropic can now release models without proving advanced mitigation adequacy. Risk assessments every 3 to 6 months, but no pre-release guarantees. Their argument is the prisoner's dilemma. If one developer pauses while others move forward without strong mitigations, overall safety could worsen, so they drop the pause button entirely. Dutch is flagging the timing. This happened one day before the Pentagon deadline. Anthropic dropped its safety pledge and then refused the Pentagon's demand. They loosened their own constraints while refusing to let the military loosen them further. That's the paradox. The company that won a First Amendment victory defending AI safety simultaneously abandoned its own safety commitments. They're not the responsible AI company anymore. They're the company that decides what responsible means, and that might be more dangerous. So here's the signal. Anthropic is winning. 19 billion in revenue, 70% developer preference, 97 million MCP installs, a court victory against the Pentagon. And they did it by being the enterprise company that OpenAI forgot to become. But they also dropped the one thing that made them different. The safety pledge wasn't marketing, it was identity. Without it, Anthropic is a $380 billion AI company that moves fast and publishes roadmaps. Sound familiar? Watch the IPO in Q4, watch the 2029 revenue projection, and watch whether non-binding safety roadmaps hold up when the pressure to ship gets even higher. The Anthropic Paradox is this. They built the most trusted AI brand in enterprise history and then quietly removed the foundation it was built on. That's the signal. That's the signal. The Anthropic Paradox is real. Trust without the pledge. Enterprise dominance with the safety asterisk. Stay sharp. Stay building. I'll see you next time.